I said I wouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. How's it going, Onesie Nation? And welcome to week 1 of the Major Pokemon League, where Birmingham Spritzee will be participating in for the coming season. Now, this is a very, very interesting league filled with a lot of people I've never played before, but some familiar faces that I've seen from around the community, such as Blue Rogue, we have Carson, Toxic Gaming, who we played in PPL, we have Turbo Blaze, we have Moxie and Fernape, all people that I know. We also have Danaki, who we played in TBU one season. So we have quite a lot of familiar faces here, and quite a lot of new ones as well. There are a couple of people like Lynx Fort, who I've never really interacted with too much, but I've known of and I've seen him. So it could be a very interesting season, and I felt like it would be a very good place for me to practice out a new style of battling as well. Because if you know me, I like to draft offensive, fast teams. I've gone with a little bit of the opposite approach here. I've went with a more traditional kind of fat team, let's be honest. I'll do a draft analysis, which I promise I will do in the next coming days, but yeah. I won't be doing a massive team builder video this week because, you know, I'm a little bit pressed for time, and I don't really believe that people want to sit here and listen to me talk about my team building thoughts like really quickly, but I will do a very brief one. The team will be down in the description below, so if you want to know exactly what I brought, then it will be all there. But a very loose, very loose team description. I've brought Taunt, Safety Goggles, Incineroar for an Amoonguss that decided not to show its face, because Amoonguss. We have a Scarf Destiny Bond Miss Magus for a Z Salamence that decided not to come. I'm like, ah. We have a Sticky Web Haze Ice Beam Scold Focus Sash Surskit, who is my viewer pick, meme pick for this season. I brought this guy as a safety measure for a Salamence, which didn't come because Focus Sash and Ice Beam. I brought Megalopony with Return, High Jump Kick, Iron Tail, and Filler Move. I can't remember what the final move was. It was probably just like, I don't know, Quick Attack or something, but yeah. We have a Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power, Fire, Giga Drain, Spikes, Rose Raid with Life Orb, and I made a very bad decision by going with Hidden Power Fire this week. Should have had Hidden Power Ground. It hits Jirachi super effectively, it hits Chandelure super effectively, it hits Electivire super effectively, all three of which came to this game, and I went with Hidden Power Fire, which is gonna cause me a lot of issues. But yeah, the final one on the team is a Pain Split, Substitute, Subsplit, Pain Split, Substitute, Leftovers, Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Rotom Heat. Shadow Ball just so I can hit Jirachi without, it hits Jirachi as well as Overheat, as well as hitting Chandelure, because otherwise Chandelure just comes in on a Will-O-Wisp or an Overheat, and kind of just takes advantage of me. I didn't want that situation happening. I wanted to be able to know that I can always do something to the Chandelure, regardless of what set it brings. So yeah, he's decided to bring Clefable, Scrafty, who I was certain wasn't going to come, Chandelure, Jirachi, Blastoise, who I was also certain wasn't going to come, and Electivire. Now, the Electivire looks like it's going to be a big problem to me because it can hit everything on my team super effectively if it's bringing the right set. Blue Rogue's whole draft will be down in the description as well. I've just dropped my pen. Will be down in the description as well in case you want to go and have a look and see what he could have brought against me, which includes a Mamoswine and a Salamence. So yeah, go down and have a look at all that good stuff, and without further ado, let's get into the game and see what happens when Birmingham Spritzee decided to take on Blue Rogue and his Grimsby Town Grimers. I swear to God, if I've got his team name wrong, I'm going to scream at myself. So we're challenged by Pokemon Trainer Blue Rogue. If you don't know him, he might be in PPL next season. Shh, you didn't hear that from me. Yeah, I'm going to lead off with Incineroar because it has Taunt and it's a good lead. And he's going to lead off with Clefable. Now, before anything happened, I wanted to make sure that this thing could not set up Stealth Rockets against me or start Calm Minding turn 1. So I go for the Taunt. As this Clefable just goes for a Moonblast, I assume to kind of gauge what kind of Incineroar I am. I do outspeed it, which proves that this Clefable is not speed invested, which is quite nice because I've ran like 4 speed just to make sure I always outspeed a non-invested Clefable. And yeah, I go into Rotom because it seemed like it was a very safe play, considering this thing could have a plethora of special attacking moves to hit me with, such as Fire Blast, such as Ice Beam or Thunderbolt, so I couldn't really feel safe in going into Rose right there in case it decides to go for a Fire Blast. I do reveal its leftovers here, so I do work out that this is definitely not a Colbur Berry or a Berry Berry or anything, so I can definitely just smack that thing with an Iron Tail from Megalope later. I'll go for a Volt Switch, but he predicts this and goes into the Electivire because he's a very good player, apparently. And yeah, it was a bit risky because I could have tried to burn the thing, but it was fine. He's going to go for a Volt Switch of his own because I wanted to work out what this thing actually had to hit me with. So I just stay in and go for a Shadow Ball, and he's going to assume that I'm going to try and burn the Electivire, and he's going to go out into the Chandelure. Boom! The plan kind of works, and I get to Shadow Ball the Chandelure smack in the face. Boom. Awesome. Happy with that. Absolutely buzzing with that. Because it means that Chandelure is now at just over half health. But I decided, and I had a look at the damage, and I was like, that seems like it probably still did a little bit too little. It felt like that should have done a lot more. Chandelure's not the bulkiest thing in the world. And he was either Assault Vested or Max Special Defense, and I was thinking, wait, what? Why? So Assault Vest could have been quite nice to switch into Rose Red repeatedly, or even to this thing, but that's why I carry the Shadow Ball and the Volt Switch, just so that I know that regardless of what Chandelure wants to do, it's not going to come in and get a Flash Fire boost on me, for example. But yeah, I'm going to go for a Volt Switch here, as he's going to pull a switch out into Fina. That's the Clefable, and you're going to see that this Volt Switch is actually going to do a fair chunk. And that kind of proves to me that this Clefable is definitely physically bulky, not specially bulky, and it's here to try and counter Megalope. Moonblast from this thing, regardless of what its item is, which we now know is leftovers, is definitely a one-hit KO on a Megalopony. So I have to be very careful with Megalope because that thing can come in and revenge me regardless. I'm going to go for a Hidden Power Fire here, trying to hit the switch into the Jirachi, and he's going to go for the Electivire instead. So this is where I wish I had Hidden Power Ground, because that would have done like well over half, and I could have, you know, took that thing fairly out of the game. But now I have to pull the switch out, and I decide that Rotom Heat decided to be the best option. Now, I knew that this thing could be carrying the Assault Vest, or it could be carrying the Rock Slide, so I'm kind of just like, oh, if it's carrying Rock Slide, I'm in a bit of trouble. So I decided to go for a substitute, and luckily he reveals Cross Chop rather than Rock Slide, so I'm very happy he doesn't have Rock Slide. It would have meant that my life was a living hell if it did. But I guess he was carrying Cross Chop to be able to hit Blissey, so that makes a lot of sense. By the way, this draft I'm having, it has Skarmory, Blissey, and Tapu Fini and Latias in it. It's fat. It's like proper fat. But yeah, he's going to go for another Cross Chop and break my sub, as I go for a Pain Split to get myself back over half health. And obviously it damages him a little bit. I'm a big fan of Rotom so far. It seems to be doing a very good job for me. Even without special attack investment, it still hits very hard. So yeah, I'm going to pull a switch out into Mismagius, knowing that if it cross chops, it's fine. I can take whatever it wants to hit me with otherwise. And yeah, I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam, predicting the Scrafty to come in on my Shadow Ball, and he goes out into the Blastoise instead, which is a fairly safer play. If I'd have gone for Thunderbolt there and, you know, Thunderbolted an Electivire, that could have been quite nice, but I wasn't sure what he would do at that point, so I had to make a prediction. I'm going to pull out a switch into Roserade, knowing I can take an Ice Beam fairly well if it does decide to go for it, which it does, which is going to do just over half health. It's a bit nasty, but what can you do? I really wish it could have Scalded there, because I do have the Giga Drain to, you know, I could have regained any damage left. And I'm going to go for a Giga Drain, trying to hit the Blastoise, but from the health that this Chandelure is at, it is still going to be a 2-hit KO, which is fairly nice. Means that I don't have to worry about predicting this thing and going for Sludge Bomb / Giga Drain. It just will die to another Giga Drain, so I can be a bit more playful with that. But I looked at the matchup earlier, and I figured that Incineroar was going to be a fairly safe switch into Chandelure 100 times out of 100, unless it had like Specs in Power Ground. So I kind of just decided Incineroar was a good play. I go into Incineroar, and the Flamethrower doesn't do much at all. I get to click the Darkest Lariat, trying to hit some damage off on the Chandelure, and we managed to smack this Blastoise in the face and do a decent chunk to it. Unfortunately, it is going to outspeed us, and we're not going to be able to get a kill on it if we stay in and take it and then, you know, hit it with the Darkest Lariat. So we make a very risky play here. We switch out into the Lopunny, and we take a Skull to the face, which could have burnt us. It could have been very, very bad for us, but we got very lucky, and Mega Lopunny does not get burnt, and it is able to go for a high jump kick, smack this Blastoise in the face, boom. 1 down. Now I'm going to pause it here because that's a very important moment for me. On a personal level, not in the game, because everyone knows me, I do badly with really good mons. Like, I do very badly with very good mons. Like, Megalopony is the sort of Pokemon that you could put in, like, S+ tier, and that would be the tier that I do badly with. Mega Latios, Mega Latias, Regular Latias, Tapu Lele, like, so many mons I've had and I've used really badly. So I was very skeptical about having another really good mon and just doing really badly with it. So to get that first kill in the first week with Megalopony, it was a big weight off my shoulders. I was like, oh, okay, now I can relax. Because now I don't have the pressure of being like, oh, it's a good mon, why am I using it badly? I got the kill week 1, I feel good with it. I feel very, very good already, like no pressure anymore. It was like a sigh of relief when that happened. But he is going to go out into the Clefable, and at this point I'm like, okay, I have to go out into Barry, I have to go out into the Rotom, because it's probably going to heal itself, and I want to be able to do Pain Split things to this. I want to be able to hit this thing for damage while I can. You know, I'll get a bit more leftovers recovery, I can Pain Split this thing, but I still don't know what its moveset is, so I've noted down that it has Moonblast and Volt Switch and seems to be physically defensive, but as I was clicking Volt Switch, it kind of clicked on me. I realised, why would he bring those 2 moves and then have leftovers? And then I figured it's because he's Calm Mind. So I made a very aggressive play here, knowing that I would probably die to a Fire Blast and this thing would probably live a Sludge Bomb from the range it's at, and I didn't want to invite in the Jirachi. So I decided to go out into Incineroar and click the Flare Blitz, let this thing hit me with a Moonblast. Maybe we can get a crit, maybe we can take it out. I had to hit this thing for high damage on the physical side. Does a decent amount of damage, and unfortunately another Moonblast is going to take us out. So Incineroar, you did your job, you stopped this thing from, you know, setting up too heavily. You've pressured it, you've got it down to low health. I can now come in and revenge it with Megalopony, for example. Roserade, for example. However, I choose Megalopony because it seemed like the safest of the options I had. I could hit it with whatever move I wanted to, and he would have to then reveal what his answer to this thing is. And he reveals that his answer is indeed an Electivire, so I click the return. That is not going to live, and even more sighs of relief, Megalopony gets another kill. Fantastic. So happy about this. He is going to go into the Jirachi though, kind of showing me that, oh, maybe this thing can take a hit from me. Maybe this is physically defensive. And I'm going to go out into Lysandra, going to go out into my Miss Magus, and it reveals Wish. And I'm like, why? Why is he doing this? And then I see the damage and I'm like, that's a bulky Jirachi! So for the second league in a row, I'm having to fight a bulky leftovers Jirachi. And I'm like, please stop this. And I've lost my Incineroar as well, so I don't really have a fantastic way of hitting this thing hard. So I decide to go into Barry the Rotom Heat, because I know that this thing can do, you know, decent damage to it. As he goes out into Scrafty, and I'm kind of figuring, oh, that's not great, because now this thing can set up Dragon Dances or Bulk Ups, and it actually reveals that it's faster than me. So that was actually a very good sign, because I'm not running any speed investment, so if this thing's faster than me, it means that it must be speedy and it must be physically attacking. And from the Volt Switch damage, I can see it's not specially bulky, or at least it doesn't have any HP investment. So I had to come to a decision here. I figured he was either going to have some way of living a hit from Megalop at +1 because he knew it couldn't outspeed me, or he was going to be like bulky, or he was going to run Bulk Up. But because because he was faster than my Rotom Heat in the last turn, and because that Volt Switch did a bit too much damage, I figured he was 0 attack, 0 HP, 0 defense. I figured that was what it was, and I figured that his item would probably be either Lumberry for a Chesto Resto set, or maybe Chesto Berry for like a Chesto, like you know, a rest set, like Dragon Dance, Rest, High Jump, Kick, Crunch, or it was going to be Choppleberry, because maybe it can live a hit from Megalop. And I figured that at the HP it was at, I would do Calcs for 0 HP, 0 defense. It absolutely, undeniably killed from there. Like, even through Chople Berry, this thing was not living. So I decide, you know what? Let's just high jump kick it. Let's see what you want to do. Let's see what it is. It is indeed Chople Berry, and at this point I was like, oh god, please live, please don't live. It does die. I got my calcs right. I did the I made the correct decision, and Megalop is picking up 3 kills in the first week. Ah, thank you, Megalop, for doing things. It's like, yas. I'm like, yas, bitch. Let's do things with a Megalop. Now he's gonna go out into Jirachi, and he's gonna Zen Headbutt my my Rotom as I switch out into it, and I'm gonna get leftovers back. And from that damage, yeah, this is a bulky Jirachi. That doesn't have any attack investment, so bulky Jirachi. It's just gonna be passing wishes around, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I go out into I go for Volt Switch, and I go out into Sergio, who is the Roserade, because I'm figuring, right, Hidden Power Fire is going to hurt this thing a lot, regardless of what it wants to do. It's not going to enjoy a Hidden Power Fire, so I go for it, and that did way too little. That did absolutely way too little, and now it's free to go for a Zen Headbutt, and it's going to get all of its health back, but I had nothing to do there. I had no way, like, no other chance of, you know, doing anything. I had to go out into that just to be able to go back out into my Rotom to be able to wear this thing down, if you get what I mean. Like, I had no play there. I could have gone into Surskit maybe and set up webs or started scolding, but my only play at the time was to sacrifice Roserade because it wasn't really going to be a big player for the rest of the game. So I'm going to go into Rotom and start Shadow Balling and see what it wants to do. If this was a Calm Mind Jirachi, this could have been a different game, but I can reveal this is not a Calm Mind Jirachi. I'm absolutely 150% sure that's not a Calm Mind Jirachi, because it's revealed Zen Headbutt. Oh, what have I done? What I was going to say is he's going to, like, right, let's pause this for a second. Okay, so I figured at this point, he's going to try and pass the wish into Clefable. So I can't really afford to let that thing get much health back. I have to go for a Volt Switch here, because I know that a Volt Switch has about an 85% chance to kill it from here. It's like a ridiculously high chance. This Clefable has already shown me that it's not specially defensive, so the Volt Switch absolutely should be killing it from this range. He's going to go out into it, and I'm like, okay, this thing should be dying from that range. We go for the Volt Switch. It lives on 1. This Clefable is now going to get a hella damage, like hella health back, because Jirachi's HP stat is huge. You can see it puts it all the way back in green, then it gets leftovers, and I'm like, oh no, what happens here? So I'm left with a horrible decision. I can either go for an Iron Tail, or I can switch out and sacrifice something off to this Clefable. Iron Tail, I looked, it did about maybe 51 to 60 something percent. It was like 51 to 63%. I had the option of either going for Iron Tail or switching out into something to sack it off to get damage off on this thing, but I figured if I let this thing get any more like Calm Minds up, then I've kind of lost, so I have to go for Iron Tail here. If I don't go for Iron Tail here, I might as well pack the game in. I might as well just forfeit right then and there, because the game would be over. So it was either go for Iron Tail there and hope that this kills, or no option. There's no other option. Miss Magus could maybe have prevented a sweep with a Destiny Bond, but then I would have had like nothing to hit the Jirachi for massive damage, so I decided to risk it with the Iron Tail. We do hit the Iron Tail, and it does kill. Phew! Megalop, 4 kills. Boom! So happy. But now he's going to go out into the Chandelure, and I'm like, you know what? From what he has left, Pinhead Larry the Surskit isn't going to be able to do much. What are you calling Pinhead? So this Chandelure is going to go for a Flamethrower. Any other day, that kills. I actually live. And I'm like, oh, Surskit, please. Surskit, why? And it revealed after the game that this Chandelure had no special attack EVs. So Surskit actually lives a Flamethrower from a Chandelure. It's ridiculous. But I am then able to go out into Rotom Heat, because I know he's locked into Flamethrower. I can do whatever I want. I decide to kill this thing with a Shadow Ball. I'm like, okay, what do you have to do to me? Maybe in hindsight, wasn't a very good decision. I probably should have gone out there into Megalop rather than this thing, because Megalop could have lived a Flamethrower, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk getting burnt, and this Jirachi could have just came in on a high jump kick anyway. So this Jirachi has to flinch me for him to have any chance. He doesn't flinch me. I get the pain split off, and I'm like, yas, queen! Yas! Oh, I was so happy when that happened. So happy. So I managed to get my health right back up, and Rotom Heat's just going to be able to sit in here, and I can outstall this Jirachi because it's not a calm mindset. So I kind of just won the game regardless from this point, because even if he did manage to chunk me down, I could have just, you know, sat in on this, kept shadow balling, kept substituting, keep plane splitting. He would have had to flinch me out. He went for a wish, but what can you say? So he's indeed going to go for a Zen Headbutt here, but he misses, and I shadow ball him. So that'll be the game. Not going to lie, that was an exhausting match. Like, it was such a good game. We both really enjoyed that. So I will say, Rogue is probably one of the best Genners I've ever seen. Like, he has no issues with anything that he gens for other people. But he revealed to me after the game that his Chandelure was fully specially defensive. I'm just going to remove that off my camera real quick. That his Chandelure was indeed specially defensive when he meant to put special attack UVs in it. So I have no idea what for. He told me after the game it was a mistake. So I'm like, the Master Jenner has just made a massive error, and it's just completely messed him up, and it's meant that his Chandelure is unable to do many things. So what do I say about that game? I say I bring a Surskit, worried about a Salamence, and Surskit just dies because there's no Salamence. I could have maybe set up sticky webs after Blastoise went down on something, but who cares? Oh, Mega Lopunny, the god. Like, Mega Lopunny saved my ass so many times there. Mega Lopunny and Rotom Heat are absolutely the MVPs. I'm going to give it to Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat is my MVP of the day. That thing just kept switching in. It was my answer to all of his offense. The answer to Chandelure, the answer to Electivire, the answer to Clefable, the answer to Jirachi. It just did the job and just couldn't go down. It just would not die. So, absolutely over the moon that Mega Lopunny managed to come in and put offensive pressure on him. Over the moon that Rotom Heat put defensive pressure on him. Not happy with the performance of Roserade. Didn't expect that thing to, you know, not do damage. I expected it to maybe pick up 1 or 2 kills this game itself, but it's a Roserade. What can you expect? Very happy that Incineroar managed to taunt the Clefable and get massive damage off on that. Very happy that Miss May just managed to put offensive pressure on him, and it could have maybe saved my ass with a Destiny Bond against the calm-minded Clefable. Had a lot of options here, and I felt like I did well. I think I did well in this game. I have a very fat team, and I decided to bring probably the most defensive variant of it. And it somehow worked. So, game 1, I win. We're atop of our division now. Absolutely fantastic. The best way to start a season compared to my TBU season last season, where I started off with a massive 5-0 loss. This is a huge boon to have a win under my belt week 1. But yeah, next week we're going to move on straight away, and we're going to be playing against Turbo Blaze and his Phoenix Midnights. So yeah, tune in next week for that. And yeah, make sure you check out Blue Rogue in the description. What a fantastic guy. His side of the battle will be up. And he's a very entertaining person to commentate over. So yeah, definitely go and check him out. As for me, I'm going to have to go and do some other shiz now. So yeah, until next time guys, fuck off.